Hello, teachers, and welcome to our Facebook Live coming to you from the British Council Teaching English Facebook page. Today, we are talking about one of my ultimate favourite topics, apart from large classes, is using everyday objects. Things like, what do we have here? Oh, an egg carton, a glass jar, for example. So these are all objects that we might find in our homes. And to help me share ideas on how to use these everyday objects is Sanja. So let's go and meet Sanja. Hi, Sanja.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
How are you today and where are you joining us from, Sanja?
I'm joining you from Croatia, close to the capital, Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, and it's very hot here. I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but here it's very, very hot.
It is very, very hot where I am in Catalonia as well. I just looked at my phone. It's 38 degrees outside. So in advance, if my computer overheats and everything shuts down, I'm really sorry. We'll try and get through as much as we can before that happens. So, Sanja, we're talking today about using everyday objects. I showed a few examples. So I'm just going to ask the teachers first. Teachers watching, welcome from all over the world. Do you use everyday objects in your classrooms? Let us know in the comments down below. So, Sanja, we're talking about everyday objects. Why are you interested in using things around the home?
Oh, because they're easy to get. We have loads of them wherever we turn around, and they're cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money to make activities and games for your students. If they like playing, mine do. So I always have to be creative and create new activities, new games to make them interested in teaching, in learning, me teaching them.
Yeah, fantastic. And how long have you been kind of, thinking about what, do you look around your house or the streets and go, how can I use that?
Well, yes, actually, yes. Not just the house, but wherever I go. For example, I'll show you just one thing. This bowl, this used to be a container for corn to feed the goats. We went on a summer camp and my students bought these little bowls filled with corn for the goats and threw the bowls away. And I collected them. And my colleagues said, "What are you doing with this garbage? Why are you collecting these bowls and carrying home?" Because I had some good ideas how to use them.
Okay. So how do you use these little balls in the classroom?
These little balls. Okay, so when you bring a worksheet to your classroom, students usually say, "Oh my God, not a worksheet again. We have to fill in something, drill, drill, drill." Okay, so I came up with the idea. These can open. So I put activities, I put the sentences on slips of papers and I put them in and close them. So I have 10 balls, 10 sentences. They have to stand up, go get the ball, go to their place, take the paper out, copy the sentence. So this time they don't only fill in, they also have to copy to practice writing, and they don't complain because it's a game. If you don't have this ball, you can always use these, the plastic balls that children play with, and you cut them through. So you put the slips of paper in, and they can pull them out and do the same activity like with these.
I love it. I love it. If you don't have one of those balls, I'm just looking around at what I have around here. Could you even use something like, like a yogurt container?
Yes, of course.
Something like that?
It just has to have some top. Maybe you see here these boxes. I don't remember what was in them, but I kept them. You can use these as well. Now I keep the bottle tops because I do activities with bottle tops as well.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so you've got like a little ball and it needs to have a lid and you put questions.
That's right. There. Questions or sentences if you want to drill some grammar. You put the sentences, fill in with the present simple of the verb in brackets. But if they had it on a paper, on the worksheet, they would just have to write the word. the verb. This
Exactly.
way, they have to copy the whole sentence and put the verb in the right tense. So they practice more things and they don't feel like practicing because it's a game. If you make it like a competition, who does it first gets a little prize, it's even better because they all like prizes, you know.
Everybody loves a prize.
Yes.
I'm just going to say hello to some of the teachers who are watching. Hello from all over the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to just bring up a couple of comments here. This one is from Truong. Yep, I use lots of them in my classes. Students feel English is around them. So that's, I guess, using maybe some real objects with English written on them. Najim is saying, I usually use real objects, which is fantastic. And hello to Suhair from Lebanon. And here is Safa. Hi, Safa. It's good to see you here again. This makes teaching and learning more lifelike, perhaps more related to the life of the perspective of the students. Perhaps indeed. We've got Romzi from Indonesia. There's people watching from all over the place. And here is Oksana, who gives you a big thank you, Sanja. She says, such a great activity with the ball. Well, Oksana, there are plenty more to come.
Yes.
There are plenty more to come. So what else do you have for us?
Okay. I know this one is your favorite. I have a bottle, a shaking bottle.
Oh, like, hang on a minute. Let me get mine. Okay, you've got a shaking bottle. Tell us about the shaking bottle.
Okay, so you need a transparent bottle, which you fill in, let's say, 2/3 with the rice. And then you cut the slips of paper. It would be the best to laminate them, okay, so they are not ruined. It can be anything, so you can practice anything with those. Irregular verbs, for example, you put infinitives on the piece of paper. Students have to write infinitive, past simple, and past participle. You can have negative prefixes on a piece of paper. You give them il, im, and so on, and then you put adjectives in it. Or you have adjectives, you do comparison of adjectives. Or you do the opposites. Here I have the adjectives, like, I don't know if you can see, good. It's not easy to see, there are 20 of them. So you put them in groups, and then each member of the group comes out, shakes the bottles. If you only have one bottle, you can make more bottles if you want. And then they have to find out all the words, run to their, one by one, run to their team, write them down, and then another team member goes and shakes the bottle. So I know that one of my colleagues who attended my live workshop at the conference, Croatian Association of Teachers of English, HUPEC conference, she uses it for storytelling. She puts different words in, verbs, nouns, adjectives in the bottle, and they have to find the words and then create a story with the words they found in the bottle. So she adapted the activity. You can adapt it to anything that suits you and your class and your students, what they like doing.
I love that activity so much because it's so simple. Plastic bottle at home and some rice. So here's the one that I made, and I have a few questions for you, Sanja, about the practicalities. So you mentioned earlier about 20 words.
Yes.
So I've got 3, and the problem is that they're all stuck together. I don't know how to separate them.
Have you laminated them?
I don't have a laminator, so I used fat sellotape. So maybe they're sticking together, I'm not sure.
Maybe because of that. If you laminate them, you see, sometimes they do, and you just have to shake. Sometimes it's not easy.
Well, it's great. It just
it's better if there are more words. And as I said, the best thing would be to laminate them because then they don't stick.
Yeah, they don't stick to each other. Do you write on both sides of the lamination or just one side?
Both sides.
Okay, so they can see it.
Should be written both sides. Maybe you can write just on one side. It would be more difficult because they cannot see on the other side. The game could last longer then.
That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So something that is see-through, you know.
See-through, rice, and laminated cards.
And laminated cards. And
try with something else. But if you put just the cardboard cards, after some time, it just, it's ruined, so you cannot use it so many times. Lamination is the best I found. And I tried everything, so this is the best so far.
And you can use it again and again.
And
you can
again
just
and again
pour
and
out
again.
the rice and change
Yes,
the
and put
words.
some,
and
yes, that's
put
right.
something else in.
Yes.
That is brilliant. So storytelling, lots of adjectives. I guess even like different colors of words,
Definitely.
like some
Yes.
verbs or nouns, and they have to do something
Definitely.
with
You can
them.
play with it and you can create the activity you want. So this is the basic, and then you are the one who makes the activity.
Where did you find that idea from? That's so genius.
Well, I'm not sure. I think somewhere on the internet. It was not the idea for teaching English. It was something completely different, maybe maths or something. And then I adapted it for English, but I really don't remember because I'm always looking for some new ideas. So I cannot give credit for this to anyone because I really don't remember. So I read books, I read, things on the internet, and then usually while I'm driving to work, the ideas come popping out, how to use it in the classroom and how to prepare something interesting for my students.
Teacher brain is never off. We've been talking about that recently. Everything you're looking at is like, oh,
Yes.
what could I use that for? So if you got any other ideas, I'm going to go and jump into and have a look at who's writing to us. Have you got any other ideas?
Oh, I have plenty of ideas.
Oh, yay, great.
But the one I would like to share is the reading comprehension idea with the paper
yes,
plates.
I also have some questions of that. So tell us about the reading comprehension.
Okay, so my students don't like reading. I don't know about your students. They don't like reading, especially when they have to fill in after that, true, false sentences. Or, I don't know, true, false doesn't say. Or so I created, again, a game with paper plates. So I have 3 pockets: true, false, and doesn't say. Doesn't say meaning it's not in the text. We don't know about. Okay, so I give them the text to read from their book, or I print it out so they have a piece of paper. They do it in groups. I color code the groups. So we had 3 different colors. Okay, so I put them in groups and give them sentences from the text. They can have a text because it's reading comprehension. I don't expect them to remember everything while just once read the text. And they have to decide as a group which of the sentences are true, which of the sentences are false, and which of the sentences doesn't say, so they're not in the text. Once they decide, they put in the pockets their answers. The true ones, the doesn't say ones, and the false ones. And when they finish, all together, we check and comment. If the sentence that we pull out of the pocket is correct, so if it is doesn't say, we put it down. It's on the table, so we put it here. If it's incorrect, we put it here. And then after doing this, we can immediately see, or the groups can immediately see the mistakes they made. So they see their papers in the position correct, incorrect, and they can immediately find out if they did the task right or not.
Brilliant. It turns like, reading comprehension, true, false. This, my students are like, do we have to?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so painful, especially if it's 9 o'clock in the morning and they're not really awake. So
yes.
this
is great because they have to wait, stand up, go there, run, put in the pocket. Also, if it's a competition, they want to be the first to finish and so on. So it's
or the one to get the most right.
Yes.
And they can check with each other. So I did this activity for real with Sanja, with the reading comprehension. And I was amazed at how much I enjoyed a true false comprehension. It was incredible. So I was going to ask you, how many questions do you usually create on strips of paper?
So in the book, in the books we use, usually there are 6 questions. I always put more. I put at least 10. Because I want them to go through the text, to go and find, especially the doesn't say one, because the concept of doesn't say my students have problem with that. They don't know
so
what
hard.
it is, what it doesn't say.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not in the text, it means
false.
it's false. That's right. So I put a lot more sentences because I teach them to, go through the text and how to analyze the text and how to find the true, false, and doesn't say answers in the text. So I always put more than 6. Normally 6 to 8 are in the book. I always put at least 10.
Brilliant. And I mean, one of the things that I really enjoyed when I did this activity with you was that we all did it together. So when my students do a true false together, usually there's one person who says it's true, and all the other groups say, okay, yes, and agree. Whereas when we had the papers, I had my own sentence, and it was up to me to decide with the group, and another person had their sentence, and it was up to them. So we all had some collective ownership, which was fantastic.
You all were part of the activity. So you all...
Yeah, I was going to ask, can you use envelopes as well?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Yes. Yeah, just something to put them
in.
What I liked about with the paper plates was that it was easy to put the slips of paper in.
Yes, you make like a pocket, you see.
Like a pocket, yeah.
And then you just slip it in here.
Yeah. So I was thinking also, those like plastic wallets, those are quite good could cut one in half maybe and tape the end, perhaps.
Yes.
Great. So true, false, possibly even multiple choice with ABC, perhaps?
Yes. You can also use the cups, True, false doesn't say. So.
Oh, so I have glass jars.
Also.
That I could write something like, I could put a big
T, yes.
Where's my camera gone?
ABC, yes.
ABC. But glass, I'm not sure about glass.
Yeah, in the classroom, maybe not.
Maybe not, actually.
Okay. Yeah. I have another activity with true, false doesn't say, which can be used for...
Just before that, I just want to say, I want to bring up some comments, Sanja, because the teachers watching have lots of wonderful things to say. So this is Elsie is saying, this is amazing, Sanja, wonderful, fun activities here. And this is from Inese, who uses a bottle and puts in little toys. So that's another way of using, using everyday objects. And then this is from Claudina, who says 90% of my students, 6 to 14-year-olds, prefer such activities over the online ones. I do too, and I always will.
I agree.
Like why do you think that is? Because, I see so many people sort of on their phones playing games.
Because they don't have a chance to play, At home, they're on their mobile phones with their friends. They're on the mobile phones. They don't get ideas how to play. And when you bring the play to them, they like playing because they're kids. It's in them, Not only kids, the older ones as well.
Exactly.
I mean, everybody likes playing.
Everyone, all of us in the workshop were like, we love this, it's tactile. We were working together. Here's one from Maya, who says, I use Kinder Surprise eggs and put words in them and place all the eggs in a bag for students to pick. It's like a surprise egg hunt in a bag, things to write, stories.
That's great.
Great
idea as well.
Sorry?
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. And Kinder eggs are kind of like those plastic eggs. They come in.
They're smaller. They're this size. Yellow. And then you open them and you can also something like this, but much smaller.
Right. But yeah, it works. Yeah. And most people throw them away.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's one from, and this might be leading on to something that you're going to talk about. We can also make boxes for true, false sentences, plastic cream cups, for example. Yes. So anything really that will, that will hold something. I've got yogurt, yogurt pots that anything you can put something in. I wonder how much everyone's recycling will be reduced after today.
After today, yes. And many new great activities created.
Yeah.
great.
So teachers watching, we are talking about using everyday objects in the classroom to create games and activities and fun activities for our students using the things that we find all around us. So do you use any everyday objects, bottle tops or bottles or plastic cups, or, Maya mentioned Kinder Surprise eggs? Let us know your ideas in the comments. So, Sanja, you were going to tell us another fabulous idea.
Yes, okay, not only one.
Oh, yay! Oh, I love it! This is making me excited about going back in September. We've been talking about summer holidays, and I've been out of the classroom for a few weeks. I went to school the other day to get my timetable, and I was thinking, I'm not ready, but now I am.
Okay, here's
go
one
ahead.
for the listening comprehension. So you let students listen to the text, and then true false doesn't say. You make, this is cheese box lids, and you write true false doesn't say on that. So you read a sentence, and then if they think it's true or it's true, they hold the true. If they think it's false, they hold the false, and if they think it doesn't say. So you don't throw away these as well, because they can be very useful. Okay.
That one, again, I've got a lid here, but this is see-through. So maybe
it's a see-through. Yes, this one is white.
That's
So
right. Or maybe I can put a
cheese.
sticker.
Yes, or a sticker.
Yeah.
It could be used with a sticker.
So I like this because I've done this with pieces of paper, hold up the piece of paper, but the piece of paper then usually doesn't last more than a lesson.
Yes.
And so these ones, that's a perfect size, and you can use them again and again
and
again. And again. Yes, that is great. Just some more comments and more comments and questions coming in. Let me just, oh yes, here. This one is from Edith. Yes, I used boxes back in the day for true, false statements, even for anonymous opinions in extracurricular activities. So that idea of, a box that you can put an idea or a suggestion into. Excellent. And then this one is from Sajida, who's saying, this session should be pinned here and on our school laptops to refer to again and again. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And this is a question which I think you might be coming on to. Can you suggest activities for young learners? So I guess all of these.
All of these activities could be applied for young learners as well. Because for example, in these boxes, instead of putting a sentence, you can put a picture and they write the word, or you can put a word and they have to draw the picture. So it's a reading activity. For young learners, I will show you just one thing, and it's a very good. So I make from the paper plates, I make like memory cards. So I put the picture on one and the word on another. Sometimes they play memory, but it's also a very useful classroom management idea, because you can put the words on the desks, and while coming into the classroom, children have to pull out the card and try to find the word. So this is their seating place for this lesson. Okay, so sometimes they have a picture, they have to find the word. Sometimes they have a word, they have to read it and find the picture to match. And this is their seating position for that lesson. They practice reading, and they, the classroom management, sometimes it's not good. They sit where they want.
But again, those are so great, because for younger learners, who might not have the ability to pick up cards so easily. I've noticed that when I've made smaller cards, they find it difficult. It kind of almost sticks to the table,
Yes.
And so
but I noticed the children like either very small things or very big ones. Normal size is not very interesting, because everything is normal size. So they love these big cards, the big memory cards. And you can put on them all the vocabulary you want, the vocabulary you teach. So you know what they need to practice, and you make your own. cards.
And I'm guessing you could also do that for grouping,
Yes.
with cards, and they have to find their group, and they're nice and big, and they can see them and hold them.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's just from paper plates. Can you use a round one, or is the square one better?
I think for memory, it's much better the square one.
Because
This
that
is
goes
my
in a
opinion, but
grid.
yes, they come in a grid.
So here's another comment from Valentina. My third grade students use plastic cups with typed letters to put the English alphabet in the correct order.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is great. Lots of wonderful ideas. So
That's
keep
right.
your ideas coming of how you use everyday objects in your classrooms. So I noticed you had a little tube there.
Yes, my Voca box.
Oh, what's that?
It's like a post box, but it's used for vocabulary. It's actually the what's the name? Pringles, that's right, the Pringles crisps. Okay, so when I teach vocabulary, when we have a vocabulary lesson, I give students a slip of paper so they write one word from the lesson that they remember, and they put it in here while going out of the classroom. The next time they come, they have to take one out and they have to explain the word or use it properly in a sentence. So this way, we revise the vocabulary. When we have more words here, I ask them to pull out one or two words and to create a story using the words they had just pulled out. And then we practice, we revise, and I see what they don't know and what we have to do over and over again.
So that's, quite a lot of teachers have a vocabulary. I mean, I used to have a vocabulary box, but it was so boring. It was just a box. But that, being a post box, is like, posting your words to yourself, for the next lesson.
Time, for the next lesson. That's right.
So simple and so creative. And I guess you could also even use, a bottle like that,
definitely.
cut out, but make sure that you sellotape the scratchy edges.
Yes. Back to the bottles, I have another one. So this one is smaller. I put in questions or the vocabulary, the words that I want them to explain, and then we play the spin the bottle, on the table, and whoever gets the tab takes the question or the word out and has to explain or has to answer the question. So it's also very easy to make, and they like it.
How many people would be in a group for that spin the bottle?
Well, my group's the most 10 students in the classroom. I don't have big groups, but you can put them in smaller groups and make 2, 3, 4 bottles.
Exactly. And maybe even the students can maybe make their own. I mean, you just need a bottle, so you can have a bottle for each group.
So you can always ask your students to bring things from home. So when I did these bottle cap activities, the teachers at my workshops asked, "But where do you get all these tabs?" I tell my students to collect them at home and bring here, so we all, participate in creating the activities for our classroom.
I'm doing the same thing in the school garden. I need bottles and string and tires and all sorts. And so, there's donations from coming from all over the place.
I mean, all toys that they don't use anymore. For example, you all remember puppets. They were very popular at some point. Nobody cares about them anymore, but I used them. I wrote letters.
I'm going to put you on by yourself.
Okay. I wrote the letters on them. So when I made these activities, there were no bigger puppets. This was the biggest one. So I had to be very careful. I put the alphabet and then I put some extra letters because we practiced spelling and writing through puppet. I would either tell them, so 2 or 3, I made 2 or 3, so I made it a competition. So I would tell them the word and they would have to pop it, like spelling. Or I told them the definition and they would have to, come up with the word and then pop it again. So it wasn't just spelling, it was playing, again, the competition, who would do it first, and they loved it. And they were not into puppets anymore, but they were into these activities and practicing, Okay. G-R. I have E-T, like this.
You can hear it a little bit. They sort of like pop out, don't
They
they?
pop out. They have to be on the table. Then
Yeah.
you pop it. And then they look like this. So the letters that are popped out are in, and the ones that are not used are out. So you can check easily.
That's so
If the word
great
is-
for spelling. So
For
great
spelling,
for
yes.
spelling. Can you show us just quickly this one?
Oh, egg carton.
Yes.
Okay. So
My egg carton is a little bit smaller than you. I've got a 6. I've got a 6er, and you have an
10.
Okay.
10. So it's like Battleship. Do you know the game of Battleship?
Yes, that's the one where you have letters down the side and numbers across the top.
Yes, and you have to guess where the other put the ship. So
Okay.
here we have the letters.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut, you see, on
That's
top.
okay. Hang on.
So yes, so I cut here on top. And for example, if you are practicing the vocabulary of professions, one that is played two players doing the game. So he or she takes whatever they want and they put like this, you see. Okay, so I have letters. I put the letters that they have the most problems with: A, E, I, O, U, and then in the second they have H, J, G, Y, and W. They have the most problems pronouncing these ones. So if you play with me, first you have to guess. You would not be able to see this. You have to guess where I put my cards. So you ask me, is it I? And I say no. Is it J? Yes. And then I ask you a question. This person catches criminals. And if you know the answer, you get the card. Okay? If you don't know the answer, you have to guess the next one.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. I was also thinking with the egg carton, you know the game Who Am I? Like with pictures of people.
Yes, that's also a
is
great
this person
idea.
wearing glasses or, long hair, short hair, and then you can, a
Great
kind of
idea.
homemade version of it. Oh, so great. And all with things that we just have around us.
Yes.
Unless you live on a farm and you have chickens, and then you
Oh.
don't have eggs. Anyway. So just a couple of comments here as well. This one is from Diana saying, I'm going to try the Pringles post box for revising vocabulary. Thanks for the idea. And this one is from Nefty about the poppers. An idea also to identify letters with each sound or each initial. You show them a picture and they have to pop the initial. So that sometimes, or even the last letter, Nefty, sometimes the last letter, like castle, we'll think it's L, but it's E, for example.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. My goodness, the time has flown by. I can't believe it. Thank you so much, Sanja, for showing us all of these amazing ideas. And like Sajida mentioned, we'll make a collage of some of these ideas to post out and make some little clips of some of your ideas to share with those who couldn't join us today.
Thank you.
So good luck with the heat.
Oh. Going to the seaside tomorrow, so
it'll
be okay.
Wonderful. And teachers watching, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back tomorrow with Richard from Genki English, who will be talking to us about not everyday objects, but similar theme of making lessons more interesting and fun using games and ideas from gamification. So do join us then tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time. Thanks, Marcus, for moderating in the background, and we'll see all of you soon. Bye.
Bye.